Due to its remarkable isolation over time, Australia enjoys fairly unique fauna. From kangaroos to the elusive quokka, they're all popular with tourists. Australia has more ways to die than any country in the world, from spiders to even seashells. Australia is the sixth largest country by size, weighing in a massive 2.9 million square miles, and Australia is also the largest island in the world too. While it's huge, the population is only 22.6 million people. New York has 19.6 million people, yet Australia is more than 53 times its size. The Great Victoria Desert is larger than the United Kingdom, and this is just one of Australia's barren areas. You could lose an entire country in Australia and never know it. A single cattle ranch in South Australia is larger than the state of Israel. The area of Australia that is covered by snow in winter is larger than the area of Switzerland. Thredbo and Perisher are two large resorts near Canberra, Perisher being the largest ski resort in the southern hemisphere. The longest fence in the world is in Australia, and it runs for over 5,530 kilometres. The world's longest golf course, more than 850 miles long, is located in Australia. Australia has the world's longest stretch of dead straight railway track at 478 kilometres in length, between the towns of Uldea and Narina in Western Australia. Australia is home to 10 of the world's 15 most poisonous snakes, as well as a huge number of venomous spiders. The cute but mysterious platypus has venom strong enough to kill a small dog. The box jellyfish is responsible for more deaths in Australia than snakes, sharks and saltwater crocodiles. Other dangerous and usually venomous animals to avoid include the blue-ringed octopus, the stonefish, funnel-web spider and the cassowary bird. Marsupials like koalas, quokka and kangaroos can be found nowhere else in the world. The platypus and echidna are the only two mammals in the world that lay eggs, and they're found in Australia. There are more than 150 million sheep in Australia and only 20 million people. That's roughly 8 sheep for every person. There are over 60 different types of kangaroos. 1 million wild camels roam the Australian deserts. They were originally brought over to help with railroad construction. The largest Greek population in the world, besides Athens in Greece, can be found in Melbourne, Victoria. More than 80% of Australians live within 100 kilometres of the coast. Australia has 19 World Heritage listed sites. More than 80% of Australians participate in gambling of some kind. Australians developed a fake animal to further scare tourists. The drop bear was purported by mainstream institutions to drop from trees and attack tourists. There is no such thing as a drop bear. More than 25% of all Australians were born in another country. Australia is the only continent without an active volcano, though the terrible bushfires of 2019-20 are certainly doing far more damage, sadly. Australia has 3 national frisbee teams. The state of Tasmania has the cleanest air in the world. The air is as clean as Antarctica. Around 1/3 of the state is also a national park or World Heritage protected. The Great Barrier Reef is the largest ecosystem in the world. It's made up of nearly 2,500 individual reefs and visible from space. And it stretches halfway down the eastern coast of Australia. Australia has over 60 separate wine regions. The majority of these wine regions are in New South Wales and Victoria. Fraser Island, which is off Queensland, is the largest sand island in the world. There are 150 dingoes, which are wild dogs native to Australia, on the island. But keep your distance, as they are wild animals and can be aggressive if approached. The Great Ocean Road is the world's largest war memorial. It was built by returning soldiers after World War I. The road is dedicated as a memorial to those who died fighting. 2.5 kilometres of the vast rock of Uluru is underground. It is one of the few places to be listed twice as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, both on the cultural and natural lists. Australia is the only English-speaking country to have made voting compulsory in federal and state elections. This results in a voter turnout of 95%. The world's largest electorate, at over 2.2 million square kilometres, is Kalgoorlie in Western Australia. Western Australia is 3.5 times as big as Texas. From 1897 to 1905, King's Cross in Sydney was actually called Queen's Cross. The oldest daily newspaper in the Southern Hemisphere is the Sydney Morning Herald. The average Australian can expect to eat during their lifetime 17 beef cattle, 92 sheep, 406 loaves of bread, 165,000 eggs, 8 tonnes of fruit, half a tonne of cheese and 10 tonnes of vegetables. 50% of the continent has less than 300 millimetres annual rainfall. The first radio station in Australia was built near Pennant Hill, Sydney in 1912. The first television station in Sydney opened in 1956 as TCN Channel 9 in Sydney. Sydney's Opera House was designed by a Danish architect in 1957. Construction began in 1959 and officially opened by Queen Elizabeth II in 1973. Sydney Tower at Centre Point is the highest building in the Southern Hemisphere. It's 324.8 metres above sea level. Wolf Creek in Western Australia has the largest meteorite crater in Australia, measuring 853 metres in diameter and 61 metres deep. The last tram ran in Sydney on the 26th of February 1961, but trams still run in Melbourne. And remember, Australia Day is celebrated annually on the 26th of January.